Hey Guardians and New Lights, Spuds here with another help guide for Destiny 2. This series is focused on helping New Lights understand the world and mechanics of Destiny 2. But hopefully, some well-seasoned veterans can also find some helpful information as well. So buckle up and get ready, because today we're looking at those tools that all Guardians carry around to overcome the powers of the darkness, our weapons. As you know, your weapons can be placed in one of three different slots. At the top, you have your kinetic slot, in the middle, you have your energy slot, and at the bottom is your power slot. Each of these weapons can take different ammo types. In either your kinetic or energy slot, the weapon can take primary or secondary ammo. The power weapon can take heavy ammo. You can tell the difference because each of the icons in the slot will tell you what you see. If you see a little white icon, that's your primary ammo. If you see a little green icon, that's the secondary ammo. And if you see the purple icon, that's your heavy ammo. Each of these weapons have 18 different archetypes, ranging from trace rifles or submachine guns or even rocket launchers. Each of the weapons within the archetype have frames as well, and these frames are what gives each weapon its difference compared to other weapons within the archetype. So a submachine gun could have a precision frame, which allows the weapon's recoil to be more predictably vertical, or it can have an aggressive frame, which gives it high damage and high recoil. Each of these frames will affect the 8 different weapon stats in a slightly different way, giving each different weapon within the archetype its own unique flavor. Each weapon also has a set of perks. Each weapon comes with its own set of perks. These perks have their own different categories within them. This first column of perks is usually the barrel or the sight perk. This allows you to more finely tune the weapon for your playstyle. As you can see, like, it might change the way handling works, or does more impact, or something like that. This perk is usually randomly generated for each weapon that gets created. This second column is either the magazine or battery perk. These perks will more finely tune the weapon stats, but can occasionally give some extra features to the weapons. Like, here you could find ricochet rounds, which is going to allow your bullets to bounce off of hard surfaces, and you could choose to have that perk activated or not. The next set of perks are called traits, and these traits are a pool of perks that are given to each weapon to increase their particular flavor and how you play with them. The amount kind of varies upon rarity. A common or uncommon weapon is not going to have any traits. A rare weapon is going to have 1 trait, and a legendary weapon is going to have 2 traits. Just a bit of a thing that kind of bugs me. When is the last time anybody has seen a common or uncommon weapon? I don't understand why in the world the most common item in all of Destiny is called rare, but that's another topic for another day. The trait perks are also randomly generated, so each time you get a weapon, it could have different traits within it as well. And then the last trait that is on almost all weapons is called the origin trait, and this trait is applied from how the weapon is acquired. So, like the raid and dungeon weapons, they have a specific trait for getting it out of the duality dungeon, or if it is a current season of the plunder weapon, it's going to have its own origin trait that is going to give you a trait that is specific to that acquisition method. Exotic weapons also get what are called intrinsic traits. These traits are usually something fantastical that is unique to that weapon's type. So, for instance, Thunderlord's intrinsic trait is kills with the weapon generate lightning strikes. So, for each kill that you get, there's a lightning strike that causes some area of effect damage as well. Of course, some of these intrinsic traits can be kind of lame because you were an exotic weapon that started out as a one-of-a-kind weapon type, and over time more weapons were added. that are just like it until a year ago. Now there are legendary versions of it, and it just keeps sitting there with an intrinsic perk that is basically is Trace Rifle. Just kidding. We love you, Cold Heart. Never change. There are many in the community that hunt for God rolls. These are the quote-unquote best combinations of perks for each weapon. Personally, I don't think these exist because each person has a different play type, and some of these perk combos can just not fit your playstyle, but I can certainly admit that combining some traits together, the combinations can get pretty bonkers. To further customize your weapon, you can add mods. These mods can affect the way a weapon behaves, like the counterbalance stock reduces recoil deviation, or the mods can boost a particular trait like Dragonfly. By adding the Dragonfly spec onto the weapon, makes Dragonfly explode even more. Each weapon drops with a weapon stat that can be upgraded through Glimmer, legendary shards, or enhancement cores to reach a tier 10 status for the weapon. Once this tier 10 is reached, then the weapon is considered masterworked and is not more upgradable. Usually you get a weapon that performs a lot better than a tier 1 style weapon. Now that we've gotten a handle on how weapons work, now let's look to crafting the weapons that you might actually want to use. But first, since you've made it this far into the video, why not leave a like and comment down below what your favorite weapon is. Unlike other games, weapon crafting in Destiny 2 has a bit more of a grind that's involved to it. Once you unlock the Enclave on Mars, hidden under Savathun's throne world, you'll have access to weapon crafting. In order to be successful in crafting, you have to unlock weapon patterns and collect the materials that you are going to need to actually craft these weapons. Unlocking weapon patterns is undoubtedly the most time-consuming part of crafting. In order to craft a weapon, you must unlock its pattern, which is done by completing deep sight objectives for the weapons with patterns. Not all weapons that have deep sight have patterns, but all weapons can drop with deep sight. You want to look at the triumphs page to see what weapons have patterns. It also tells whether the deep sight weapon has a pattern or not if you look at the weapon itself. Deep sight weapons can also be acquired from certain seasonal vendors, but usually this is only one weapon per week. Finishing a deep sight objective is as easy as using the weapon. Often, using the weapon as your main weapon through a strike will finish it by the end of that strike. Most patterns require 5 deep sight completions to unlock, but there are some that require 3 and a few that require even less than that. The materials that you will want to acquire are resonant alloys, which are necessary for changing a frame's intrinsic trait. These are collected primarily by dismantling weapons. You will also need ascendant alloys, which are necessary for adding the enhanced trait to weapons. These are acquired by completing weekly missions or seasonal activities, or you can purchase them from Raoul or Banshee 44. Resonant elements are required for adding perks to the weapon, and these are acquired by completing deep sight objectives. Harmonic alloys are required for adding raid exclusive traits, and these are acquired by dismantling raid weapons. And then finally you have mementos, which are very optional for weapon crafting, but you get them from random drops in certain activities. Once a pattern is unlocked, you go to the Enclave to craft. You select the perks for each of your available slots. You'll be able to come back to the Enclave and reshape your weapon as many times as you'd like and switch out perks and find out what works best for you. As you use your weapon, it will level up. As it levels up, you will unlock more perks that you can use on your weapon. Eventually, you will begin unlocking enhanced perks, which are just simply better versions of the perks that you already had unlocked. Equipping 2 of these enhanced perks will give you a weapon that has like the same status as a fully masterworked weapon. You can craft as many of these weapons as you'd like, as long as you have the materials that you need, and so that way you can have multiple versions of these same weapons. Well, that's all I have for you today, Guardians and New Lights. In our next video, we will be taking a look at armor and armor mods, followed by a video on build crafting to make sure that both weapons and armor work together to give us a playstyle that we really want. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on when videos get uploaded and when I go live. And with that, I will catch you, Guardians, in the next video.